This is Plant-Based Briefing, Autoimmune Diseases and Diet. Here's what you need to know, Part 2 by Lindsay Morris at forksoverknives.com. And I'm Marian Erickson, your host. This is the Plant-Based Podcast, where I find a variety of articles on plant-based and vegan living, get permission, and read them to you here in about 10 minutes or less every weekday. This one was a bit longer, so it's a two-parter. I read Part 1 yesterday, and now here is Part 2. So now let's get to today's Plant-Based Briefing. Autoimmune Diseases and Diet. Here's what you need to know, Part 2 by Lindsay Morris at forksoverknives.com. How does diet affect autoimmune diseases? Diet plays a huge role in autoimmune diseases because the immune system is affected by food, and 2/3 of your immune system is located in the gut, says triple board certified rheumatologist Mika Yu, MD, who also practices integrative medicine. Whatever food passes through your gut will talk to your immune system. Gut dysbiosis, an imbalance in the gut microbiome, the naturally occurring population of bacteria and other microorganisms within the GI tract, has been closely associated with multiple autoimmune diseases, suggesting that maintaining a healthy gut microbiome benefits autoimmune health. According to 2021 research linked here, published in Lupus Science and Medicine, a dietary fiber called resistant starch, commonly found in bananas, plantains, legumes, and whole grains, may positively affect the gut microbiome of people with lupus. Researchers collected stool samples and dietary information from 12 SLE patients and 15 SLE-related antiphospholipid syndrome, or APS, patients to see if resistant starch in their regular diets impacted their gut bacteria makeup. While no one consumed high quantities, more than 15 grams of resistant starch, medium levels, between 2.5 and 15 grams daily, of dietary starch were associated in SLC with increased bifidobacterium, which is beneficial to the immune system, and people with APS who ate medium levels of resistant starch exhibited lower quantities of harmful bacteria linked to the disease. Conversely, ultra-processed foods, such as soft drinks, refined sweet foods, salty snacks, and processed meats, have been demonstrated to promote gut dysbiosis. A 2017 review linked here, published in Foods, concluded that the resulting imbalance might be associated with an increased risk of at least 2 autoimmune diseases, type 1 diabetes and celiac disease, in predisposed children. Additionally, a 2021 study linked here, published in the BMJ, suggested that eating ultra-processed foods can significantly heighten the risk of developing IBD. One reason these foods are so detrimental is that they produce inflammation, which can trigger an abnormal immune response, says Yu. With your immune system, you have something called immune tolerance, where your immune system's supposed to see its own cells and just ignore it. But in autoimmune diseases, over time, because of chronic inflammation, your body will start reacting to its own cells. That's where the body can attack its own joints, its own brain cells, its own nervous system cells, and so forth. Yu says that one way to combat that inflammation is by consuming more anti-inflammatory foods. Research has shown that fruits and vegetables are associated with anti-inflammatory properties, and there's evidence that a vegan diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains reduces inflammation. A plant-based diet may also reduce autoimmune disease symptoms, such as fatigue. A 2004 study linked here had 24 middle-aged people with rheumatoid arthritis follow a low-fat vegan diet for 4 weeks. At the end of the study, participants saw a significant reduction in all RA symptoms, except for the duration of morning stiffness. A more recent study published in Lupus, linked here, in January 2022, looked at extensive data from 420 SLE patients who completed a 26-question survey on their diets and SLE symptoms. Researchers found that patients who changed their eating patterns to incorporate more plant-based foods while limiting processed foods and animal products reported improvements in their disease symptoms. Real-life success stories. Have you been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease? You may be able to improve your outcomes by eating more whole plant foods and avoiding animal products and highly processed foods. For inspiration, check out the following first-person testimonials from people with autoimmune diseases who benefited from a whole food plant-based diet. I resolved a decade of rheumatoid arthritis pain within months on a whole food plant-based diet. After 10 years of painful rheumatoid arthritis, Andrea Kane changed her diet and dramatically reduced her rheumatoid arthritis symptoms. Read her story, linked here. And How I Reversed Crippling Rheumatoid Arthritis with a Plant-Based Diet. In August 2015, at 35 years old, Emily Brandehart was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis with symptoms so painful that she couldn't sleep. Then she did some research and discovered the benefits of a plant-based diet. Read her story, linked here. And more stories linked below include From sick and tired to happy and healthy, my whole food plant-based journey. I overcame lupus and freed myself from medications with a plant-based diet. For 26 years, I've managed type 1 diabetes with a plant-based diet. I used to have MS relapses every 6 months. After going plant-based, I haven't relapsed in 10 years. Overcoming myasthenia gravis symptoms on a plant-based diet. And plant-based diet has me winning my long, hard battle with ulcerative colitis. You just listened to Autoimmune Diseases and Diet. Here's What You Need to Know, Part 2, by Lindsay Morris at forksoverknives.com. And I'm your host, Marian Erickson. As always, I put a link to the original post in the show notes. So you can go there, find the original post, and then click on all those success stories. They are so inspirational. Some of them I have already read on the podcast, and I'll link those in the show notes. I'll also link a 2-part episode about autoimmune disease, 373 and 374, Healing Autoimmune Disease with Supermarket Foods by Dr. Brooke Goldner, and another 2-parter about fiber and gut microbiome and gut health, 792 and 793, The Importance of Fiber in Gut Health and Hormonal Balance by Ocean Robbins at Food Revolution. So please share this episode with anyone who might benefit, and thanks for listening.